Here we go. And we're recording. Amazing. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. You are in for a serious treat tonight. In particular, it's been a very big interest of mine getting deep. One second, that happens sometimes. Tonight. In particular, it's been. You're just going to hear an echo of me. In particular, I hope that's still live. One second, I'll triple check. Always the way. Yeah, awesome. We're going. In particular, because we're now working in the entertainment industry, and that's what really connected myself and the amazing Sleepwell and Fast and Functional team, is that these guys on tour, as you might have seen, we were looking after the amazing country singer last weekend, Luke Combs and his band. They are going on stage at sold out shows with over 40,000 people and getting off stage, and how to bring down their energy after that and get a good night's sleep and get back up the next day and do it all over again. Next month, we've got Billie Eilish, that I just learned has 4 shows back to back in Brisbane, then in Sydney, then in Melbourne, 4 shows in each state. I mean, these performers need to be able to calm themselves, get a better sleep, but also, you know, be able to rest, reset, get more focused. And this is the amazing team that I've been able to find due to a great friend, Will Tan. So thanks, Will, and introduce us through Million Women Movement, a great movement that connects women in business, and not to negate the amazing Tim, who's here to help us, and men that support women. So thanks, Tim. And be able to bring us together and really show the wellness industry what the aspects that come into play when it comes to your focus, your performance, and better sleep. So let's get into what we're going to be covering tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Drop in the comments where you're joining us from and what you're excited to learn about tonight. It's called the 10-minute breath and body reset. I mean, if you could learn how to reset your body and have, you know, pain relief and functional recovery in just 10 minutes, who wouldn't want to be able to do that for themselves, but also do this for our clients as massage therapists, wellness professionals, fitness professionals. I see a lot of my coaches joining me tonight. I'll start off with Timothy King, who's just got a fresh shave over there. And he's shaved off his beard. I can hardly recognize him, but he's looking good and he's ready to go fast. And he's the founder of Fast and Functional. So Tim is a myotherapist, an educator, and a clinician with a focus of chronic pain management. I've heard he's been known as the man with the magic hands. He does orofacial pain and functional rehabilitation. He's based in Geelong, Victoria. He runs a clinical practice there while also delivering hands-on workshops and online training for health and movement professionals. I know quite a few of my professionals are even flying in from Perth to go to the face-to-face that he's hosting in Queensland soon. We'll talk about at the end of this awesome webinar. But Tim is the creator of the functional neuromyofascial technique. So it's called FNFT, which you're going to see bits and pieces of that tonight. A unique method designed to optimize musculoskeletal recovery and functional movement. Next, we've got Sarah Beach, co-founder of Sleepwell Australia. Again, another myofunctional therapist and oral health therapist with a special focus on jaw pain, headaches, and rehabilitation, and chronic pain management. She founded Sleepwell Australia with Dr. Karina Patel, who's also joining us, and co-developed the FNFT, TMD, and orofacial pain course with Timothy King. Working closely with maxillofacial surgeons, neurologists, remedial massage therapists, she integrates FNFT release techniques with myofunctional therapy to address complex orofacial pain conditions. And I mean, these guys are reaching not just Australians, they're also hired, which I found really interesting because my background's in film and stunt doubling. I actually lived in Los Angeles on Wilshire Boulevard for a while. They're helping clients over in Hollywood with these different techniques because they are some of the best in the world at what you're going to see tonight. And last but certainly not least, the amazing Dr. Karina Patel, co-founder of Sleepwell Australia and sealant. Uh, Dr. Patel, if you guys don't mind muting yourself, sorry, is an American board certified specialist in sleep medicine and pain management, as well as a clinician and international speaker. She is dedicated to bridging the gap between sleep health and chronic pain, empowering healthcare professionals like myself and those joining us tonight with practical science-backed strategies to improve patient outcomes. Like, just amazing what this team has brought together. Thank you, three, for joining us tonight. So tonight you're going to learn how they bridge the gap between health and movement, and they've developed a series of professional development courses designed to bridge that gap between health and movement professionals. We'll get more into that, but get ready to reset tonight. They're going to introduce the 10-minute breath and body reset, a simple yet powerful approach to unlocking better movement, pain relief, and recovery. Like, the most important things that I'm handling out in my industry today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We have absolutely legends on here. Hello, Chels. I mean, the founder of Boob Group, an amazing group of over 10,000 amazing ladies. We've got Chris Cotter, who I work with in Workplace Health and Safety. She's the specialist in there. We've got Peta, who's bringing collagen, bone broth, anime to the world. And coming up soon, we've got some Olympic athletes joining us, Ellie Beer, and some amazing massage therapists. Kate, Bree, thank you, ladies, for joining us. Michelle, love for you to drop in, show us your beautiful face, and everyone on Facebook, thank you for joining us tonight. Boom! I'm going to hand it over to these amazing specialists and give them full control tonight. So let me just make you guys hosts so you can show us your slides and get ready to be amazed, just as I was literally searching for amazing sleep specialists out there. You guys are now hosts. Take it away, hey. Dr. Karina and Sarah.
Give me a second. And I'm just gonna move out this one. And
perfect. Coming into play.
Let's see.
Cool. Is that as big as it gets?
Oh.
Or is it me that I need to make my screen bigger?
I'm not sure, Tim.
It's big. It looks great.
It looks okay? Okay.
Lovely.
All right, let me just get our faces because we don't need to see those this whole time. There we go. Okay.
Great.
Okay, so I'm going to kick it off. Thank you so much, Megan, for the introduction and the very warm welcome. We're really excited to share some of our evidence-based, time-efficient protocols with your group of health and movement professionals. So tonight we're going to be introducing an overview of our 10-minute breath and body reset set, which combines targeted breathwork, movement, and specific neuromyofascial techniques, FNFT technique, for a comprehensive approach to recovery. So our goal is to provide practitioners, health and movement practitioners, with practical functional solutions designed to help manage pain more efficiently and effectively. So in addition to these techniques, we're going to also highlight the role of sleep in recovery and the importance of identifying common sleep problems like snoring and sleep apnea, that if they're left unaddressed, it really can impede healing and prolonged pain conditions. So that's something we really want to highlight to you all tonight. So, but before we start, we really want to preface this discussion by acknowledging that chronic pain is rarely the result of a single factor. And I'm sure all your experienced health and movement professionals understand that. So there's usually several underlying issues to address to achieve resolution. And this might be why some practitioners out there, they keep doing the best they can, but the clients just keep coming back month after month, year after year, and their pain never seems to fully resolve. I'm sure we've all had experience in that. So when we look at the bigger picture in chronic pain management, effective pain management often requires a collaborative approach. And that seems to be the new thing we're all preaching now. Let's all work together to get better outcomes, right? So this might involve some or all on this list of health and movement professionals, especially when it comes to those more complex pain presentations. So we do recognize that modern medicine can be really helpful, but oftentimes it acts as a band-aid and masks that underlying cause of pain. So it's always amazing when a client does respond to just one standalone approach. However, when medications fail or when bodywork alone isn't enough, it's time to zoom out and take a broader approach. And that's what we want to let you in on and help you understand that if the clients don't get the resolution that they've been desperately searching for, we're going to introduce you to this 10-minute protocol. So with the right questions and a fast and effective relief method, we hope to bring you some more success. So to kick off the talk tonight, Tim's going to introduce you to the FNFT method and explain why this technique is so good. Then I'm going to give you an overview on the significant contributing factors to pain, and we'll discuss how functional breathing really plays a critical role in someone's healing. So Dr. Karina is then going to talk about the healing power of sleep and give you the 3 key questions that you can ask your clients to determine whether or not they need help with their sleep. So I'm going to hand it over to you now, Tim.
Sounds great. Yeah, g'day. My name's Timothy King. I've practiced myotherapy down in Geelong for, 25 years, I guess, which means I've provided well over 60,000 consults and for quite a few years treated 100 patients a week. So I'm the hands-on guy. I do use some dry needling as well. But the way that, sorry, let me reset this. The way that Sarah in particular and I first connected was Sarah was treating patients. So I guess a chronic pain is the focus, and especially cervicogenic headache and TMJ is a big focus in my clinical practice. And Sarah's this dental practitioner in Brisbane, and I run online training where I teach fast and efficient techniques. And she reached out to me and said, "Do you have a course that just treats this area?" And she introduced me. I was already successfully treating TMJ presentations, and she introduced me to the sleep and breathing world, and especially oromyofunctional therapy, which might be some new terminology to some of you, which is really effectively musculoskeletal rehab for the tongue and the face. Then we put together my hands-on techniques and those myofunctional techniques, as well as education around breathing and sleeping, and the results for chronic symptoms, especially head and neck and jaw pain, have been second to none. Amazing. And so you're talking to, I guess, experts in these areas. So I could easily, and I do easily, make a living with musculoskeletal pain complaints just using my hands, and that's it. Sarah could easily make a living with her dental focus and the airway approach that she takes, and that's it. And she's an expert in that area, and I'm an expert in this area, but we've put the two together, and Karina's jumped on with the sleep component. And so you've got 3 experts. And so this is a real problem, because we're going to give each other about 5 or 7 minutes each here, and we've got 5 or 7 days worth of material each. And so let me just see if I can give you the 5-minute version of how your hands-on, because I know a lot of you are hands-on therapists, can be much faster and much more efficient. Like I said, I used to treat 100 patients a week. I now treat about half that, but I do a lot of other training of therapists, so I do a lot fewer hours in the clinic. So this little slide we've got in front. So most of our techniques are slow and heavy and painful. So your myofascial release, for example, is a classic example where it's slow and heavy and potentially painful for the patient, but also painful for us as practitioners, because it's hard work and you kind of wear your thumbs out. Yeah, the next slide. Thanks. I don't have control over the slides, so I'm going to just keep talking. So how do you get the results? So let me just talk about the physiology that underpins what I've done for the last 20 years. And I pass this information on to Sarah. And even as a dental practitioner, she's been able to take these techniques and use a 3 or a 5-minute version on her patients with their head and jaw symptoms and get great results. So yeah, keep going with the slides. The principle that I figured out, and this may not be, new news to all of you, but it's really critical in our thinking. That is, as hands-on therapists, we, our patients tell us to push harder and to work longer, and that feels good, and that's all fine. But what I figured out very early on, and it's partly because of some of the influences that I had and patients that I saw that, for example, I live in Geelong, so I have patients that used to see Tom Bowen. Some of you might be familiar with Bowen technique. Tom Bowen, his treatments on average were 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and he was doing soft tissue techniques. And I was like, and these patients, he passed away when I started working, but I would see his old patients and they would tell me what he did. And I just thought, that's ridiculous. Like, how can you get outcomes with headaches, back pain, etc., so quickly? And so I did a deep dive for a couple of years. I did extra study. I went back to uni and did a deep dive into fascial science and tried to figure out why what he did works, because he didn't know why it worked. He just did it and it worked. Like, he was self-taught basically. But I had all these patients who would tell me these stories. And so let me give you the 3-minute version now of what I discovered. What I'm going to describe to you is coming to the fore in lots and lots of research now. I don't know, some of you might be familiar with the Stecos and their research and dissections or anatomy trains with Thomas Myers. This kind of fascial work, Helen Langevin, some of you will know the name. These are the kind of people that have been doing the research into fascia. And what they've learned is that the fascia or connective tissue is actually richly innervated and seems to play a role that we don't fully understand yet in pain perception. And so I did a deep dive into fascia and spent a lot of time researching that and figured out basically the reason why our techniques work, any techniques work, hands-on techniques, is not because we're pummeling the muscle loose like we often think or tell our patients, but we're stimulating a neurological response. The body is always in control of what you're doing. In other words, it will choose to respond to what you do, or it will choose not to respond to what you do. It is in control. And so if you can figure out a technique that will stimulate a response from the body very, very quickly, then I'm going to opt for that every single time rather than doing all the hard work, which means, like, this is, as far as the way I practice, this is out, and you don't have to cause as much pain to get great results. Next slide. Now, I mentioned that the fascia is innervated, and when you do a deep dive into fascia, there's multiple layers of fascia. The most innervated layer of fascia is the epimysium, which is basically between the skin and the surface of the muscle. So you want a technique that will move skin over the surface of the muscle. Now, this is what Stecos do. This is what Diane Jacobs and dermoneuromodulation do. If you're into this kind of stuff, they don't necessarily explain it the same way, but what they're doing is they're stimulating the epimysium. That is the fascia on the surface of the muscle. If you can see that slide, then you can see the skin, the adipose tissue immediately under the skin. Now, in the foreground is the muscle, and that webby looking stuff is your epimysium. It's what gives you the slip between the skin and the underlying muscle. Next slide. And so what I discovered, and what I know Tom Bowen discovered, is that being able to feel, so working by feel and being able to feel adhesions, or not adhesions, that's the wrong word, but some coagulation in, or resistance in that epimysial layer, and resolving that, which can be done very quickly. And I believe that, yeah, so if that video will play, I believe that in doing so, we're talking to the brain. So we're stimulating the neurological component of that epimysial layer. And then the brain is telling that muscle that it can release. This is super simplified, but you're stimulating a response that leads to a resolution of pain, resolution of stiffness, and it can be very quick. If that video is not going to play, just move on to the next slide for me, Karina. So the way I work is I always look at a patient's range of movement. Is there a painful end of movement, for example, in the neck, or even stiffness? Stiffness is a key indicator. Where the stiffness is will give me more information about what's causing that stiffness, because stiffness is a protective mechanism. It's not just like tired old muscles. Stiffness is an intentional neurological mechanism. So you look for stiffness, I test movement first. I only use cross fiber movement. So if I know the longitudinal or the muscle fibers are running in this direction, I will only work in this direction because it gets the results so much more quickly. I'll manipulate very specific sites based on where the patient's presenting with symptoms. I won't do massage everywhere, kind of wasting my time. And then I will retest movement within minutes. And so if you test movement, do some manipulation, retest movement. If the stiffness is gone, the pain's gone, then you've created the change you're looking for, and it's often instantaneous or very, very quick. Now, if you apply that principle to a sequence, when you start to think biomechanically, I'm going to apply that principle to levator scapula, then trapezius, and then sternocleidomastoid, and I'm going to change the way this whole neck, for example, is moving. We'll go to the next slide. This is the way I work. And so in the 10-minute breath and body reset that we'd love to teach you, this hands-on component is one of the critical ingredients. And it's because you guys are hands-on already, most of you, it will come very naturally to you. Now, I've had decades of success using this technique, built a busy clinic, always booked out. But those chronic pain cases, you have to start to think breathing, and you have to start to think sleep as well. And so that's where my conversations with Sarah and Karina have been so invaluable, because now I have maxillofacial surgeons and many, many dentists sending me their chronic pain patients and saying, try this first, and if that doesn't work, come back and then we'll look at surgical options, etc. And it's rare that they actually need to go back and look at the more invasive techniques. So this combination for these particularly chronic pain patients of a fast technique, not only is it good for me and my hands, but I've been teaching this with Sarah to dentists in the US, in Australia, to even surgeons as well, orthodontists, because it's so quick. Other therapists can use the techniques in very specific masticatory muscles in this example and get results for their patients. I think I've said everything on that slide. And so from there, I am going to hand on to Sarah. Whew.
So,
Take a breath.
did you time yourself?
5 to 7 minutes. I did.
Okay.
Oh, that's 10 minutes, sorry.
I see. Okay, so as
No, I just took 3 of your minutes, Sarah.
Okay, well, I'm going to take Karina's.
Oh.
So so as Tim outlined, the musculature involved in pain presentations does need effective management for good functional outcomes. But remember, we now want to zoom out and consider what else impacts muscle health and function. So this might mean with your client some discussion around the impact of nutrition or inflammation on the muscles and joints. We can release and rehabilitate function of the muscle. However, if the client is physically inactive or nutritionally deficient, say, for example, they're at the point of suffering vitamin deficiencies or even hormonal imbalances through certain phases of their life, their recovery could be significantly impaired. So next, we need to consider how stress and trauma impact ongoing pain. And it's not our job to be psychologists for our clients or to delve into childhood trauma or abuse they may have suffered or are suffering, but we can certainly be educators and connect them with the research that really clearly links chronic stress and trauma with pain. So I think that's really important to understand and be updated on that. Listening is really critical when pain is present, validating their ongoing or their past stress or trauma, and linking it to the chronic pain can be really powerful to help them heal. And originally, when I started delving into that, I used to try to uncover their trauma, but now I just connect it in, and connecting it in seems to be enough. You know, let the psychologists and other disciplines disciplines do their job. But this is why collaboration is so important across the discipline. So we need the psychologists, we need the nutritionists, we need the movement specialists and the body workers, and we need the medical profession as well to fully address the needs of someone with more complex or chronic pain. So also having the ability to ask some validated questions around sleep quality, quantity, and posture is of huge importance in pain patients. And that's really what we want to stress tonight, because quite often sleep is just left out of the equation. And to be honest, a lot of us had very little to no training in sleep medicine. So it's not a reflection on anyone here. It's just an area that I think in this day and age, it's really important to start to learn more about, because we do spend quite a lot of our lives doing it. And the research really clearly tells us that sleep and pain are best friends. So the reason being, if you don't sleep well, your body, brain, and mental health will always struggle to heal from pain. And Dr. Karina is going to tell us a bit more about that. But first, this is where we come to the importance of breath. And, you know, for people who are across breathing, you know, breath underpins everything. So, and I'm sure if you've observed people who suffer pain, you also see that they suffer from breathing dysfunction. So just like sleep has that circadian rhythm, our breathing also has a rhythm. And if this breathing rhythm is disrupted by emotional or physical stress or trauma, it can really throw us into that shallow and dysfunctional state of breathing. So basically, it can send someone into that sympathetic fight or flight type of breathing, and they may never recover. So it only takes one incident to throw that breathing rhythm off kilter. But then it takes a concentrated effort to bring it back to proper function. So, and this includes anyone suffering from sleep disorders, because you can imagine snoring or sleep apnea also changes the way we breathe and puts that nervous system into sympathetic overdrive. So again, you don't have to be a breathing retraining expert, but we can teach you to look for signs of breath dysfunction and provide your clients with, there's so many free resources to start that journey of rehabilitation. And it does take a couple of months to really rehabilitate that breath. So then we're going to have a look at what does a poor breathing pattern look like, okay? So healthy breathing is optimal, ideally nasal breathing. So breathing through your nose filters and humidifies air, optimizes oxygen exchange, and does a whole heap of other amazing, wonderful things. Diaphragmatic breathing. So the diaphragm becomes the primary muscle of respiration, allowing for deep, relaxed belly breaths. So even in steady rhythms, we want breathing to remain consistent and calm during activity, rest, and sleep. And then alternatively, what does a poor breathing pattern look like? So this is something you can observe in your clients or your patients if they're mouth breathing instead of nasal breathing. Shallow chest breathing rather than that deep diaphragmatic breathing. So you'll see them, you know, really breathing from their chest rather than being in that relaxed state. And also any sort of history of snoring or sleep apnea is another sign of disrupted breathing state. So breathing also lets us help us regulate our nervous system. So by restoring healthy breathing patterns, we can also regain balance in our autonomic nervous system to promote better digestion, better sleep, better immune function, and resilience to stress. So what are the key elements of functional diaphragmatic breathing? So what we want, it's traditionally, we hear in a lot of breathing led workshops, they always talk about the belly breathing. But I want to just draw your attention to the fact that diaphragmatic breathing is a bit more than just seeing the belly rise and fall. It's about expansion. It's a 3D expansion into the back, the sides, and even downward into the pelvic floor. So this holistic movement ensures that the diaphragm is functioning optimally. So with the front or the belly, it should rise as the diaphragm contracts. So the belly should rise. If you put your hands where your bra straps are, you'll be able to feel when you inhale, if the hands go laterally. So we want the lower back just to subtly expand outward, the rib cage to flare out sideways, and that indicates proper engagement of those intercostal muscles. So breathing into the pelvic floor. So a fully functioning diaphragm works in coordination with your pelvic floor. So during inhalation, the diaphragm moves downward, creating pressure that just gently pushes into the pelvic floor. And this downward movement is really key for core stability and proper pressure regulation in that abdomen. And then posture, that really matters. So the diaphragm can't function optimally if the body is slouched or hunched. So we want a neutral spine, allowing the diaphragm to move freely, which facilitates proper breathing in all those directions. So being vertical, whether seated or standing, helps align the diaphragm, the pelvic floor, the rib cage, creating that stable base for effective breathing. So how do we practice this diaphragmatic breathing? Well, we'll just run through it quickly now. So if you find yourself a comfortable position, so you can sit or lie down in a relaxed position, place your hands, one on your chest and one on your belly. We want to inhale through your nose if you can. If you can't, there's a whole other pathway for that, but focus on your belly rising as the diaphragm contracts. So the hand on the belly should move while the hand on your chest should remain pretty still. Okay, so exhale slowly through your nose or through pursed lips. So allowing the belly to fall as the diaphragm relaxes. And ideally, you want to practice this for at least 5 to 10 minutes daily to retrain your breathing patterns. So in summary, diaphragmatic breathing really is the gold standard for healthy functional breathing, while belly breathing could be a helpful metaphor, but it's not a formally recognized term. So it's important to focus that 3D principle and practice of diaphragmatic breathing to reap its numerous benefits. And we've got lots of little fun ways of introducing this diaphragmatic breathing to our clients using little pinwheels and things. But yeah, I'm going to pass you over now to Dr. Karina to talk about sleep.
Hi, everyone. Okay, now that you're nice and relaxed with that breath work, I'm gonna try and make sleep super interesting. That's a good task for me, isn't it? Okay, so what we're going to talk about is how all of this is linked together. So I'm going to bring together the sleep and the pain aspect and also the breathing that Sarah's spoken about today. So we spend an average of 26 years of our lives sleeping. Yet, as Sarah mentioned, most medical professionals are only taught actually 4 hours of about sleep medicine in their entire training. So that's crazy. But here's the thing, sleep underpins every major illness. So I'm going to help you understand it a little bit better. I know I've only got a short time, so I'll try my best. And we need to start asking the right questions to yourselves and also your clients. So I'll try and give you as much as I can. So you've heard about pain and breath, but sleep being the missing link, and I'll tell you why. So pain wrecks sleep. If you've ever had a bad back or a headache, you'll know exactly what I mean, but 50 to 80% of people with chronic pain also struggle with sleep. Pain fragments your deep sleep, so the stage where your healing is supposed to happen. It also increases the risk of insomnia and sleep apnea. But here's the kicker. So bad sleep makes pain worse. When you don't sleep well, your body cranks up the pain dial and you feel even more pain. The poor sleep triggers your inflammatory processes and it slows down the healing. So it's essentially like having a broken leg and never taking the cast off. It just won't get better. Some sleep problems can actually reduce your lifespan by up to 15 years. So it's really, really important to start asking some questions. So you're probably thinking, oh, this sounds really disastrous. What can I do? So it's not all doom and gloom. Although sleep and pain together do create this downward spiral, we can break it. So treating sleep to reduce pain. Medications can sometimes help, but they need to target both sleep and pain together. And often the medications that are handed out don't do both of those things together. Lifestyle as well. So regular routines, incorporating lots of movements and relaxation techniques play a role. So the thought process, or the main thought that I want to give you, is that to remember that sleep and pain are like a tangled knot, and you can't really fix one fully without addressing the other. So I'm going to keep this really simple because sleep has multiple different stages, but essentially what it is your body's reset button. And there are two main stages. You have your non-REM sleep. So you think of that as your body's repair mode. And then you have your REM sleep, which is all about your brain recharging itself. Now, they are broken up into multiple different stages. We won't go into that today. What you need to remember is that your sleep isn't just one long continuous block. It's like a roller coaster of cycles. So the first half of the night, you have lots of deep and restorative sleep. And then the second half of the night, you've got more of your REM sleep, or your brain sleep and light sleep. So when this pattern is disrupted, that is when sleep disorders creep in. So as I said, you don't need to memorize this, but understanding the basics helps you understand questions and spot red flags. So most people go through these cycles about 4 to 5 times a night, with each one lasting about 90 to 120 minutes. And you'll hear everywhere, a lot of emphasis is placed on quality of sleep. So how many hours did you get? But the hours, and especially clients that she sees, the hours don't matter as much quality. And that's what we really need to address. So broadly speaking, sleep quality depends on internal and environmental factors, while your sleep quantity is shaped by the external demands, priorities, and lifestyle issues. Now, again, I'm not going to read all of this out because all of you can read, but you're more than welcome to take a picture if you want. What you can clearly see is that there's multiple things that can affect the quality of your sleep. Something simple and empowering is what we want to focus on today. With certain things that we can't control, there is no point trying to go and change so much about your patients' or your clients' lives that they won't actually be able to do it. So you want to try and focus on things that they might have some control over. So we're not going to be able to change, personal commitments, or maybe they've got travel plans, but together we'll focus on what we can control and make positive changes to improve your client's sleep. So how do you start? So really, really simple. 3 questions you can start with pretty much tomorrow if you're seeing someone tomorrow, or even ask yourself these questions tonight. So the first is, do you get to sleep easily? The second is, do you stay asleep? And the third is, do you wake up rested? Everyone knows what these questions mean. So if there's more than one no, then they may, or you may have a sleep problem, and you might want to probe a little bit further. We do have free downloadable screening questionnaires on our website. So you could even fill one of those out to see if they may be potentially needing a sleep test done, or if they've got problems like snoring, sleep apnea, insomnia, you might be able to speak to one of our team. So ruling out a sleep problem is better than letting something slide and potentially affecting their lifespan. So as I said, some sleep problems can take up to 15 years off someone's life. And snoring is a really good example. So there's an ENT that's based on the Sunshine Coast, and his tagline is "Don't ignore the snore." And it's true. So it's not just an annoying habit. It can be so much more. So it could indicate an airway compromise. So when you snore, the airway narrows, and as the air passes through, that vibration is what causes the snoring sound. So not only can it indicate or be, a bit of an annoying thing for you or a bed partner, it can have serious health consequences. One of the more serious consequences is it can sometimes loosen carotid plaques in your carotid artery. They can track down to your heart, and it is possible to result in a heart attack. So snoring is something that potentially shouldn't ever be ignored, although it is most of the time. And then I also wanted to leave you with something actionable that you can start with your clients from your first conversation with them. So we can do this one together. So if you look at that picture and have a look and see what sleeping position maybe is closest to how you sleep. And I'd just like you to enter into the chat what sleeping position name suits or is most similar to you? The dream. Oh, okay. Megan's on top of it. Anybody else? Hedgehog. Right.
Oh, Tim.
Oh, Tim.
Oh, Tim.
Okay, somebody can't read them. Okay. So I will, the dreamer. Okay, so I mean, that's not bad amongst you guys. So the ideal is the dreamer. So good posture, I'll just explain that. Is it's key to quality rest and overall health. That poor posture, we're always concerned about the posture during the day and what we can do during the day, but the sleep part of it is often overlooked, and it can cause pain, breathing issues, and also contribute to sleep disorders. So maintaining that neutral spine, supportive pillows, it helps your body recover from your head to your toes. We do offer some solutions for sleep posture to address them, but small changes is what you need to remember can make a big, big difference. So this is what ideally you should look like, the after picture, not the before. And that can be action today. So you want to give your client something to work with while you contact who you need to for the rest. And this is what we're talking about with that collaborative effort. So I hope I was kind of on time, but what you want to do, and it's just a bit of a summary, you don't need to be a master of everything, but you need to master helping your clients solve pain, and they will thank you for it. So the summary of the 10-minute protocol is firstly to identify the area of pain. The second is to assess function and implement that FNFT release, and then keep them moving. The third is to address breath and give a breathing protocol. And the fourth is to ask sleep questions. So you can refer to Sleepwell for coaching or testing if you need to. Now, I do have, if you are interested in these topics, we have the FNFT course coming up on the 30th of March, and we do have a little bit of an irresistible offer for you. So if you book a ticket for that hands-on in-person course, it's a full day, but if you're also interested in learning more about sleep, then you can come to our one-day sleep symposium, which is the day before. It's usually $397, but what we have for you guys is we've reduced that, so you get $300 off if you book that second day. So that's the QR code, and we can share those details with you after if you didn't manage to catch it. But we hope that you will come join us for a day of learning and fun, and we're open to now take any questions. I'll leave that one up.
Thank you guys. That was awesome. Thank you guys so much. Like, you are the dream team. Together, it's the full effect. And thank you so much for giving our team, WellCorp, Hemisphere, our therapists, and anyone watching who wants to dive further into it. It doesn't matter if you're in the wellness game or not. How useful would this be if you are having trouble sleeping or know of somebody that is in your family? Like, yeah, just appreciate you guys. Thanks for the great offer. We'll go into taking some questions. I know we've got some whizzes on tonight. Yes, Bree, what's your view on nasal dilators to help with breathing while sleeping?
Yes. So nasal, yes. So what you want to look for ideally while assessing whether someone will be benefit nasal dilator is you want to get them to do, like, stay relaxed with their posture, maybe seated. They can be standing as well, but you want to get them to do a forced inspiration. And when they're breathing in, you want to look for alar rim collapse. So any collapse that's going on in the cartilage there will give you an indication whether propping that area open is actually going to help. Some people with restrictions further down, you can put all the dilators and everything in there and the sprays and everything, but it won't do anything. So it's ideal to check if it might be of benefit before you go and hand one of those out.
Yeah, awesome. I know that you gave me a sample when I was last in, and I've been using it, and I mean, for myself, I guess I didn't really realize that I had a little bit of congestion, and it can come up anytime, but I've been breathing better using one. And I know for, anybody who is like myself that wants to have a lot of, elite performance in business or whatever, for like, you want to get a good night's sleep no matter what you're doing, really, let's be honest. Work, business, athletes, it can really assist even when you don't realize you have a problem. So I found it really useful. Thank you, ladies, for giving me that sample, by the way. Yes, yeah, okay. Yeah, you've got one for yourself, Bree. Awesome. Any other questions from the amazing crew out there? Peta, Chelsea,
I just
all
wanted
my ladies. Oh, there she is.
to the pillow. So Chris, who's
Yeah.
got them knee pillows. So it doesn't have to particularly be a particular pillow for your knee. You could literally put anything between your knee as long as it aligns your hips. I don't care if you use literally like the DAADSM pillow in your house, if it holds that space. That's what we're looking for. So I don't ever really suggest going out and buying a particular knee pillow because everyone's different shapes and sizes.
And with that, I mean, the cool thing on your website, you can put in what your height is and everything else, and then get a pillow basically designed for your epigenetic or phenotype, your profile, which is so, so cool. I didn't even know that existed. I thought I just would go on, I like firm, I like soft. What do you like? So that was an interesting part. Love, Peta, that you're using the goat nasal strips. What are your guys' opinions on the goat nasal strips? I know they've blown up in social media.
It's like everyone was wondering for ages, what are these things? We were stuffing things up people's noses and doing all this stuff. And now it's like a cool thing to have your
Yeah,
nose.
yeah, okay. So you're like, finally, yeah, gone mainstream. Cool. Love that.
Yeah, I
No,
was like,
absolutely. It doesn't work as a good pillow. Aura ring, I have a lot better sleep. Yes, yeah. So the Aura rings are awesome. There we go. Couldn't agree more, Chelsea. It's so, I think we were talking about this at dinner. It's so awesome to be able to track your sleep and understand your patterns at a really deep level. And I mean, it doesn't have to be an Aura ring. You can also use an Apple Watch and different technology out there that is giving you slight insights, but the Aura ring or also the Whoop goes into a lot more detail. So those two I find for, being somebody who loves technology and is in the wellness game are the ones I suggest.
I would say a little bit of, I'd say I have like two types of patients. Ones that have like the chronic pain, the sleep, and it's been so long and they're just highly anxious and really their sympathetic overdrive is like up here somewhere. Those ones, sometimes it can go 50-50 if I give them like, or I advise a tracker, they might just be like looking at it in the middle of the night and it will just keep them up because they're looking at every single thing that's going on. And then there's others that use it really, really well. So they can literally just take bits of information and they're like, okay, so this is good. And it actually helps track their progress. Like I had someone this morning and she's like let's see, Beverly Hills or like some other time zone. And it really, really helps her because she's that type of person. So I think picking the person as well is really, really important.
Yes, love that. Yes, Chelsea, absolutely. With regards to brain lymphatic, I mean, you're the lymphatic queen, so I'm so glad that you've jumped on tonight, and I know you and Tim are going to have so many different synchronicities, but there's so many different elements that go into sleep. Having the three of you on is just like the golden tripod, as I mentioned. Because also, Sarah, I love that you mentioned that it can go into some of your mental health and what that person has gone through, and or with my clients, that I mean, a lot of that can come up and what they're coming off of and addictions and things like that can really highly affect their sleep, and they don't even realize it. Like you were saying, Karina, with regards to pain, that they are interwoven. So important to realize that we all play a crucial part You know, it goes into nutrition with Peta there. It goes into movement with myself and exercise physiology, and then it goes into massage and everything else that we've been discussing with Tim tonight. So thank you guys. It's been awesome. Any more amazing questions, or when we've got these three, you know, wicked humans on board that you'd like to ask about focus, performance, how to take your sleep, or anything to the next level?
Also, Megan, I know those slides were a bit blurry. Our 1-day sleep symposium, we've got like a really great lineup. I think you're coming to that as well, but we've got neurologists, so really talking about brain health and sleep. We've got a sleep doctor who's a psychotherapist as well, so really delving into sleep science there. We've also got a clinical psychologist who's specialized in sleep, and she's just moved over from LA. Actually, she's been over in the US for the past 15 years, but she's back in Australia now, and she really specializes in sleep psychology and that whole trauma link and pain. We've also got Tim doing a section that day. We'll be doing a section that day, but it's really for any sort of health and movement professionals who have really little to no understanding of sleep. So we're just going to have all these disciplines showing you how it all fits into the picture, and also really good network referrals to be able to cross refer if you just, you know, have that client who just can't get rid of their headaches, or, you know, if you've asked the 3 questions about sleep, what do I do next? Who do I send to? And you can actually see the chain of, you know, who really knows their stuff in this area. So yeah, so we'd really love
to mention that.
have you guys along. So Fast and Functional will be on the Sunday the 30th, and then the Sleep Symposium is on Saturday the 29th. And like we said, with the Fast and Functional day, that's $546 for the full day of training there. And for another $97, you can have the whole Sleep Symposium day. So that's an offer we wanted to make to your audience for the next, 48
hours. Yeah, fantastic. We'll put that out there and let everybody know. That is huge. Thank you guys so much. I'm so grateful because of how important this is. And I think I've asked this before, just because we've got people tuning in from across the country. Is there a virtual component that if somebody's not in Queensland, they can tune into?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially I'll take for now. And then if you guys get if you like, I know we've got Kate in Newcastle, Chris up in Rocky. Like, if you guys want to learn more and you're not able to be here, then we'll let you know if there's a virtual component that we can hook you up with as well. For for myself, I've got gyms across the country. I want everybody to have access to this, in particular in corporate, because this is, again, I mean, I was mentioning the entertainment industry because that's the fun, exciting stuff. But when it comes to the base level of dealing with, a company with 1,500 people, the biggest issue that I am now seeing, although fitness and nutrition was huge, is sleep deprivation, stress and anxiety. And, that's basically, the biggest thing when it comes to our longevity and our health and wellness. So we know how important sleep is now. So we want to put you guys on the global stage, and we're just so grateful to have you here tonight, and for your time. Any questions, feel free to reach out to you guys via what's the best way to get a hold of you guys?
So probably through the website. I can put that actually in the chat.
And then I'll drop that in the Facebook Live for everybody that's joining us there right now as well. And I'll also be sharing this onto our LinkedIn, our YouTube, and those that didn't join will get a recording. Just fantastic information. But as mentioned, that if you want to get that discount and ensure that you're at what's coming up with these guys, jump on the link. Or you'll share the link with me, or QR code again, and I can share that for everybody.
Yep.
Perfect. And
So-
the really exciting news is that, and I mean, she's here right now, Chelsea Inspired. We're going to do some ongoing webinars coming up, but they will be paid webinars moving forward. And we're going to be looking at really assisting the health and wellness industry in their sleep, myofascial release, all of these different techniques that you guys are bringing, and ensure that people really value what you're putting out there, because this has been so valuable. I know you've condensed decades of work, all three of you, into 10 minutes segments. And Tim, yep, you know, what meant to go 7, but you went 10, and I'm still very impressed with that. So fantastic work out there. And we're yeah, just so grateful for what you guys are doing. And it really is a beautiful network that you've created. I'm looking forward to referring all of my artists to you guys, and thanks a lot for your time tonight. Perfect. I've got the link, in-person course. Lovely. Thank you guys. Any other questions? Welcome, Chels. Let us know. Sorry, go ahead, Karina.
With the deficiencies, which is great that someone's picking this up.
Yes. Yeah, Peter mentioned the Queen.
Yeah. I wanted to know a little bit about like what are you doing to, like, once it's detected, what are you currently doing to address deficiencies?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Woo! Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I own a multi-structured collagen and bone broth business that
Yeah.
I've developed. I've got a food science and clinical health and dietetics background. So sleep is of utmost importance to me, because we find that if you are not getting that regenerative process during the night, then you are not going to be having the cellular repair that you need and the regeneration that you need. With our products, that's what one of the fundamental structures of our collagen actually does help with, that glutathione production and that collagen regeneration in the body from head to toe. So our products are one of a kind and very uniquely positioned in the global market, where no one's going to be able to get anywhere near us, because I've got the global patency on 2 structured collagens till 2030. So you guys literally get a very beautiful product and available to all your customers as well, to be able to address those deficiencies so that they can get a better mood, a better sleep, a better overall cellular regeneration while they sleep, a better calm for their farms, so they're not so stressed out, to actually reduce that anxiety, depression, all of those sort of things. So if you look up all of the different illnesses and dysfunctions that come from a glutathione deficiency, every known cancer is there. Most of your sleep apnea and most of your snoring, most of your sleep and physical disabilities and neuro disabilities are all actually from a glutathione deficiency.
Perfect. Whereabouts are you located?
Gold Coast.
Okay.
And can you put your website in the
Yeah.
chat as well, please?
Yeah, no worries. And if you jump on the our health hub, I've actually got about 4 really good blogs about glutathione deficiencies, but I've also got a really good blog in there about what our products do for sleep and anxiety and depression.
She would be
No stress.
fantastic to have as a collaboration on the day too, just throwing it
Oh,
out.
I was looking at the dates, Megan, and I'm like going, God damn it, I can't make it. Maybe I'll just send you up with, I'll send you up
I
with
can
the
bring
AirPods.
some up. Yeah, yes, I know I have to return the pumps from Luke.
We'll just give
were
them, we'll just
enjoying
give
it.
everyone hugs and mugs for the weekend and make them all snooze.
Yep.
Cool. That's
yeah.
amazing. Thank you.
And Megan's got a referral link. So anyone who is keen that does want to have a taste of them, if you're not on the Gold Coast, you can actually order and get $15 off. She'll flick that through later or tonight.
Yep.
But yes, so you're more than welcome to actually jump in on that. And if you do want to collab with me, we have an amazing referral program. By every dozen humans that you refer to me, I give you $500 cash or $600 worth of Saname for free, and then you just put it on repeat.
Okay. Cool.
So let's fix their sleeping problems and get them all actually waking up, not being tired, and actually being able to function for the day.
It's always the goal. Like,
Oh, yes.
that's really, really hard these days. There's too many distractions and everything.
Most definitely.
Switching off. We say as it's like 7 p.m. and we should be.
Yes, yeah, true. No,
Well,
something, Peter, that was
while the things actually been going on, I've actually cooked 15 liters of potato, leek, and fennel broccoli soup, and already had my dinner.
I
while I've
saw
been
you
listening to
cooking
guys.
over there again. I
Oh,
was
no,
like,
that
that's
was the video.
impressive.
Oh, that was the video one.
No, it was great. I was like, good job. She's
Oh,
cooking away, listening in her element. That's
no.
perfect.
Oh,
Yeah.
too funny.
Well, that's the most important thing with sleep, that it doesn't come down to one element, and we really do need to look at the entire holistic approach of with our clients, and it can start from, of course, the inside out, and then sometimes we need to go from the outside in as well. So yeah, it's just not a one-stop shop. So with all of our different superpowers, I think that's what really makes it possible for people to get a great night's sleep. So thank you, Peta. That was awesome. Thanks for jumping
No,
in.
my pleasure. I'm always happy to talk to my humans that know a little bit about these things, because it makes it a lot easier to explain stuff.
Yes, and Chelsea's getting it ready for a nap. Perfect. I love it. Well, you're gonna sleep easy tonight. Well, let me know how your aura ring goes, and yeah, check out how you're sleeping, which body position. We're all going to be analyzing that now tonight. So that was great. Thanks, Karina. I'm gonna be like, am I doing that?
Am I a dreamer?
Yeah, I love it. I'll be questioning that. Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you so much, Tim. You guys were absolutely amazing. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you found this super valuable, as invaluable as I did when I first met these guys. And yeah, look out for many more. And if you got a lot of value of this, share what they have going out there in their next conference with your therapists. And I won't forget to connect all of you, and have a fantastic evening. Sleep well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thanks.
Night,
See you
night.
guys. Thanks for joining us.